What's the greatest forgotten play in NFL history? Well, there was 22 seconds remaining in Super Bowl 34 in a matchup of two unlikely underdog opponents, the Tennessee Titans and St. Louis Rams. Tennessee quarterback Steve McNair had the ball and needed a touchdown to send the game to overtime. But we all know how that game ended, right? If you're of a certain age like myself, the image of Kevin Dyson desperately reaching out for that last yard but coming up just short for the Titans is burned into your Y2K mind. It's a symbol of futility for Titans fans and a moment of elation for fans of the Rams. St. Louis is one moment on top of the NFL. The thing that has been forgotten is one of the plays prior to that. And it's an all-time amazing play. But before we get to the greatest forgotten play in Super Bowl history, I want to talk about some other moments that have been washed away by the sands of time that are equally thrilling. So buckle up with me here on That's Good Sports. We're going for a ride down memory lane. Hey, don't forget I have a coffee company, BenchwarmerBrew.com. We still got the Fuck the Refs blend of coffee. It's our hottest selling coffee. Our darkest roast is delicious. We got tumblers. We got some other things over there, so go check it out, BenchwarmerBrew.com. The prevailing image of Super Bowl 43 remains and will always be Big Ben's throw to the corner of the end zone. Receiver Santonio Holmes defied physics to tap his toes inbounds, securing a sixth Super Bowl for one of the league's most storied franchises. But there's a reason they were in that spot, and that reason? Receiver Larry Fitzgerald. After a dominant postseason that outclassed even Jerry Rice in 1988, Fitzgerald was quiet in the first half of his only Super Bowl appearance. The Cardinals clawed back into the game with a late safety after the Steelers were called for holding in the end zone. And on the first play of the ensuing Arizona drive, Fitzgerald caught a Kurt Warner slant and found another gear, outracing one of the NFL's best defenses all the way to the end zone, giving the Cardinals an improbable lead in the late stages of their one and only trip to the big game. Had Arizona won, we would remember that as one of the greatest plays in league history. The lead, of course, didn't hold, and Fitz's mad dash to the end zone will always be overshadowed by Santonio Holmes tap dancing his way to Super Bowl MVP. I mentioned Jerry Rice just a second ago, and he won Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 23 thanks to his 200 yards and touchdown. But the Bengals had an unlikely hero emerge late in the game to give them a desperately needed jolt in their battle against Goliath. The score was tied 6-6 in the final minute of the third quarter. Boring. Jesus Christ, what a boring Super Bowl. But neither offense was breaking through, and Cincinnati was going to need someone on special teams to break the tie. Enter Stanford Jennings, a former third-round pick of the Bengals in 1984, who was about to make the biggest play of his life. Jennings ripped one right through the middle and was tripped up right as he crossed the goal line, giving the Bengals their first and only touchdown of the game, sending them to the fourth quarter with a 7-point lead, something no one in their right mind had expected, although several people in their wrong mind were very ready for that play, which has been lost to time.
Hey, they gave it their best shot. The Bengals did their best. It was a good game.
Jerry Rice tied up the game in the fourth quarter, and after Joe Montana spotted John Candy in the crowd, he also found John Taylor in the back of the end zone to give the 49ers their most iconic play in team history, a testament to Joe Cool and his ability to complete a comeback. Comeback king, you say? John Elway. Before John Elway embarked on a 98.5-yard drive to send the Broncos to Super Bowl 20, the Browns and all of the dog pound was dead sure they were headed to Pasadena. But there was a reason Elway needed to summon all of his strength to send the game to overtime. Just moments before, Browns quarterback and Cleveland hero to this day, Bernie Kosar, was faced with a crucial third down at the 48-yard line, and he went for it all. After being pushed in the back, Brian Brennan somehow beat Dennis Smith to Kosar's rainbow throw and outraced the legendary Broncos safety to the end zone, giving them a lead that was all but sure to secure them a date with the Giants in Southern California. It's hard to understate how huge and unexpected that play was. In a rough and tumble defensive battle in the muddy and windy Cleveland Municipal Stadium, it didn't seem like the Broncos had any chance of matching that touchdown. Oh, but they did. If not for the drive, Elway's Herculean series, Brennan's catch and run touchdown would have been remembered as the greatest play in Cleveland history, maybe even more so than LeBron's chase down block of Andre Iguodala in Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. But because Elway tied the game and won it in overtime, it's a footnote, a prologue to the most iconic drive in NFL lore. Then we've got the ending of Super Bowl 25, wide right, one of the most infamous kicks of all time. It's a heartbreaking symbol of the Bills' inability to get over the hump in the early 90s. The first of their 4 straight Super Bowl defeats at the hands of the NFC, but Thurman Thomas, running back, nearly willed the team to victory. When Thomas pinballed his way through the Giants' defense, he single-handedly turned a 5-point deficit into a 2-point lead for the Bills. Had the rules been different back in 1991, Buffalo could have gone for 2, and this famous game might have resulted in the first overtime in Super Bowl history. But a made field goal by Matt Barr and a missed field goal by Scott Norwood as time expired will always be the image that resonates for both Bills and Giants fans. A tale of bitter defeat that set the table for 3 more Super Bowl losses. Super Bowl 49, Russell Wilson drops back and fires the ball to, Patriots corner Malcolm Butler, handing another Super Bowl victory to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Forgotten, though, is one of the most insane catches in Super Bowl history. 1:14 left on the clock, and Russ throws up a prayer. Malcolm Butler is actually in coverage here and defends the pass well, but the ball bounces off of receiver Jermaine Kearse's leg and falls right into his warm, loving arms. That is the play that put Seattle in position to win and would have been the 3rd crazy catch that set up a Patriots loss in the big game.
How many different plays are the Patriots going to have like this?
Instead, Seattle opted to not give the ball to one of the most punishing running backs of all time, Marshawn Lynch, and they lost the fucking game. But here we go. The Tennessee Titans. They still have never won a Super Bowl. In 1999, the Titans needed a miracle to sneak past the Bills in the wild card round, with a questionable lateral from Frank Wycheck to Kevin Dyson serving as the difference maker in one of the craziest playoff finishes of all time. This was the first Titans playoff game since they had moved from Houston to Tennessee. In fact, this was the first year the Titans were the Titans. After the Warren Moon era in Houston, the team had hired Jeff Fisher and drafted Alcorn State quarterback Steve McNair, and those 2 moves had finally paid off in 1999. The team rebranded from the Oilers to the Titans, shedding the tragic history they had left in Texas, and entered the postseason as wildcard troublemakers looking to shake up the AFC side of the bracket. And they did exactly that. After dispatching the Bills and Peyton Manning's Colts by just a field goal in his first visit to the postseason, the Titans had an uphill battle in Jacksonville. But they had beaten the Jags in the regular season, twice actually. In fact, they were the only team to beat the 14-2 Jags in 1999. This was a team that was fresh off a 62-7 drubbing of the Miami Dolphins in the divisional round, but the Titans had their number and kept in the AFC title game, falling behind 14-10 before pouring on 23 straight points in the second half to book their tickets to Atlanta, where they would meet the Cinderella Rams in Super Bowl 34. All of the attention was on the greatest show on turf, and for good reason. The Rams had been a laughingstock since their move to St. Louis, and with the help of former grocer Kurt Warner.
Well, I get paid $5.50 an hour Granted, that was 1994.
Oh, sweet. And that's way more than I make on ESPN+.
And Marshall Faulk, the Rams put on an aerial attack in 1999, grinding out a hard-fought victory against Tampa Bay to return their franchise to the Super Bowl for the first time in 2 decades. Now, things didn't start well for the Titans in their first Super Bowl appearance. After the Rams jumped out to a 16-0 start, Tennessee counted on quarterback Steve McNair and running back Eddie George to close the deficit. Thanks to the scrambling of McNair and a couple of hard-nosed goal line runs by George, the Titans knotted up the game 16-all after Al Del Greco, a holdover from the Oilers' days, drilled a 43-yard field goal. My Uncle Al used to love to teach me Del Greco-Roman wrestling. Turns out he was semi-molesting me for years, but I do now know how to pin a man in seconds if necessary.
Grab his dick and twist it!
That tie held exactly for 1 play before rookie phenom Jermaine Kearse, not to be confused with Jermaine Kearse, who I just mentioned, couldn't reach Kurt Warner in time. The league MVP who floated a ball to receiver Isaac Bruce down the right sideline. Bruce adjusted, dodged the secondary, and sprinted 73 yards to the end zone to give the Rams a 23-16 lead with 2 minutes remaining in Super Bowl 34. A frantic drive by McNair and the Titans got Tennessee into Rams territory with just 22 seconds remaining. And that's where we pick back up with the greatest forgotten play of all time. Had Tennessee won this game, we'd talk about Steve McNair the same way people reference Patrick Mahomes.
McNair stepping up.
Uh-oh, you got him.
Rolling, needs help, stays on his feet somehow, throws, 11-yard line, it's caught, first down. They saved their timeout, they have it here, they stop the clock.
It took just 1 play to show that McNair had the heart and ability of a champion, the balance to get away from 2 Rams, and the wherewithal to find an open Kevin Dyson downfield put the Titans in a position where they had 1 last shot to tie the game. My favorite thing about this play is the Rams are playing prevent defense. McNair has time, but is a bit jittery. He steps into the pocket as I think he's preparing to tuck and run, changes his mind knowing there's not much time on the clock, turns around, goes back before finally the pressure comes, and how he escapes the sack here is simply unbelievable. And we all know what happened next. For the Rams, the play is known as the tackle, a heroic stop by linebacker Mike Jones. For everyone else, it's 1 yard short. Just 1 yard, and almost nobody remembers what happened right before. In retrospect, this is one of the rare games in Super Bowl history where it's fair to say that both teams deserve to win the game. Actually, the other one might have been also involving the Rams-Bengals. But with everything on the line, the Titans made a good play. And with the same stakes, the Rams made a great play. Had the Titans tied the game and won it in overtime, McNair's unbelievable effort with 22 seconds left might be regarded as one of the best plays in NFL history. But unfortunately, it's just the stage setter for Rams glory. The late Steve McNair may very well be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Titans would have their 1 ring. But it's all forgotten, just like I will be very soon. What does that mean?
Yeah, where do we start?
All right, first thing you got to do is you got to clock in.
Okay.
Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching these videos in the off season. And if you like this one, what's another play I should make a video about?